Hello, Deputy Terry back with you, and today I just wanted to give you an update of what's going on around the bench. Having a coffee, it's about coffee time, so this is the TIKKA T3X Hunter that I've been developing a load for, and I put this Steiner 4X Predator on here. It's a 4 to 16 power scope, and it's pretty lightweight. It's only like 11.5 inches, so, and it fits really well on the rifle. I mean, it goes with the whole lighter weight hunter style rifle, and this 6.5 Swedish MAUSER. I checked it before, but it's still unloaded. It has the magazine, holds 3. Safety under the thumb. And I've been working on the loads for it. And so far, the favorite bullet is the 140 grain. Let me just set this aside, okay? Can you still hear me? It's this one. It's the Hornady SST 140 grain, and it has the polymer, specially designed polymer tip on the end, and it's guaranteed not to distort under the high speeds that this is shot. I'm figuring around, with the Swedish MAUSER, about 2,700 feet a second. And, well, let's see. Yeah, here's one back here. When they're finished, they look like this. And I've got these loaded up with 3 different kinds of powder. So we're going to do groups of 5, 5, and 5 with 1 grain difference in each 5 to see what that gives me. And these are loaded up with Hornady 4350 powder with 42 grains of powder as measured on my my little powder scale over here. So that's those. And so far with these SSTs, and here's 100 yards, and this has 42 grains of Hodgkin 4350, the 140 grain SST bullet. The primers are Federal GM 210 match, the really light crimp. The overall length is 3.030, and so we're getting there. It's you can see the 3 right there. A quarter doesn't cover that, but the inner parts of the holes are underneath the quarter, so that's under an inch. So far so good. We're going to keep working on that and see if we can get them all to touch. The latest addition to the family, let's see here. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that Predator, that Steiner on the Swedish MAUSER, is actually kind of very popular for night hunting. Not here, but in Africa, it's very popular for night hunting there. And it has red marks that light up under different levels, and it also has green marks in different levels. And I'm told they wear night vision devices and go hunting at night. And many times that's just to cull different types of game. The game wardens will go out at night and cull different types of game. The latest project is I got a surprise tax refund, and so I went out and I wanted to put together a project rifle, something that would shoot, you know, really nice groups at 500 yards, maybe 1 or 2 inch groups at 500 yards, a bench rest gun, as opposed to the Swedish MAUSER, which is more of an antelope mule deer type gun. I wanted a bench rest gun that I could reach out and shoot, you know, so maybe some matches. We'll see. But I didn't want to spend more than $1,000. So I bought this Cascade. It's made by CVA. You may recognize the name. They make black powder. They've been making black powder rifles for 50 years. They decided to go into the centerfire bolt action rifle business, and so they came up with this the first one was the Cascade, which was a standard bolt action, and then the Cascade like a varmint barrel, and they're around 20 to 22 inches. And most recently they came out with this, which is the Cascade XT, the 24-inch barrel. And I, maybe foolishly because of the recoil, but I bought a 300 PRC, which is sort of like a 300 Win, really close to a 300 Win Mag, but it's the 300 Win Mag is a belted cartridge around the bottom. It used to be to get the headspace right. If there was something wrong with the machining, at least the headspace would be right because the belt would hit at the back of the chamber. That's my understanding. Anyway, I got this CVA. It's Cascade XT, as I said, and it's empty. And it's a long action, the same as like a 270 or a 375 Holland & Holland. It's a long action weapon. It's not as opposed to a short action like a 6.5 Creedmoor or something. But look at the size of the bolt, you know. It's huge, and it's, you know, looks pretty beefy. I haven't shot it yet, so that's why I'm saying that in kind of a tentative way because, well, I'll just put this aside for now. I'm not sure what to expect, but I am going to use this lead sled. And you know, there's a lot of, just kind of as an aside real quick on lead sleds, people say, well, if you can't shoot the rifle, you should get something less, but it does, because the accuracy can be affected by a lead sled. But if you're going out with a 300 Win Mag or 4570 Government or something that really has a lot of kick and your bigger Magnum cartridges, this is designed for recoil management while you're kind of getting it dialed in more or less. This is not, when you start finishing your 1-inch groups, you wouldn't want to use the lead sled, but so far it's come in really handy for me, just in recoil management and being able to shoot a lot of rounds at the same time. And that's what it's made for. It says recoil reduction technology. It doesn't say precision technology, so just to clarify that. Then after I get this kind of like zeroed, then this just we'll go to sandbags. And what else? It's 30 caliber, 300 is 30 caliber. It's a 1 twist and 8 inches, and so it's really fast as compared to, say, like a 308, which is a 1 in 10. So it's the 308 spins the bullet a lot slower, and these can spin up a heavier and longer bullet faster, and it's going to really just give you better technology than some of the older cartridges. although the older ones will remain popular and they're really good. But this is pretty state of the art as far as the ballistics technology goes. Let me pull this off of here. It's not a handy rifle if you're in some trees. In fact, I would say this is not, unless you're going to go and shoot off some sticks somewhere long range at some antelope or something like that. I would say this is not really a great hunting rifle just because of the weight and it's kind of unwieldy. And that's not what I'm going to use it for. It's for bench shooting out at up to 1,000 yards. Should do that easily. Pardon me. Should have watched what I put in that coffee. That now it is compensated up here. You can see the compensator, the recoil reduction technology. And that's about that as far as this goes. Oh, the scope. I didn't want to pay for another one of those Steiners because my tax refund just kind of got the rifle, which was on sale for less than $700, and I just went for a cheapy scope, well, an inexpensive scope, because so far I'm really happy with what I see. And this is the 4x16 by 44 CV Life. It's made in China. It comes with the rings, and it comes with the caps, and it has, it is illuminated. It uses these little CR batteries with 2032s. It ships with 2 of them. And then up top here, it has the elevation adjustment, which can be zeroed. I mean, once you get it dialed in to the range that you want it to be zeroed, you can take this and put it back to 0 on the scale back here as your 0 mark. And the same with the windage. You can do the same over here. Now the windage adjustment, you pull it and then you can adjust it like that. The elevation, there's no lock to it, so when you turn it, and then it hard locks at 0. But there's nothing to keep it from turning if you accidentally got in some brush or something, it could turn. So you just have to, when you look at it, the first thing you see is a big 0 right there. And then, of course, there's a parallax adjustment over here. And it gives instructions in the manual how to adjust your parallax. And then the brightness of your red dot in the middle. And I got the MOA one. And I really don't know why. Maybe I should have got the mil. But anyway, it was $179. I got the MOA. It's illuminated reticle, 4x16 by 44. I used the leveling kit and got this mounted and just like looked out the window and then down up in the sky like a long way away, some trees and stuff, and it looks really good. It looks as good as the Steiner, but will it hold at 0? Will it perform like it's supposed to? Will it be waterproof? When I dial up the elevation, will it actually go back to 0? Those are things that we'll find out at the range. Now the last part of the video, I'm going to set this aside and just go into a real quick my procedure for case preparation. The steps, when I buy a bag of Hornady brass, it's like it came on the Pony Express, right? And so the necks are bent, you know, they're kind of dinged up. Maybe the shoulder has a little ding in it or something like that. The mouth of the cartridge is not chamfered or anything, and so previously I would try to see bullets and there would be like this little turtleneck of copper around on the case. So we're avoiding that now. And let me show you, let me go set this aside. I'm going to show you the procedure for proper case preparation that's going to save you a lot of anxiety and make your cartridges a lot more accurate. Hang on. So here we go with the case prep. And previously, I did these previously, but I left one raw to show you. And this is going to end up like this. When it's finished, it'll be this. As opposed to, and here's my carry around in the mountain gun. Here's the 6.5 Swede. Can you see those over? Yeah, you could see those. So, Swedish MAUSER, 300 PRC. It's considered a Magnum cartridge. So you have to use Magnum primers. Oops, that goes here. Let me go grab some primers. I'll be right back. This is what I could find. These Magnum rifle cartridges are hard to find. It took me about a week to finally, I found these on Sportsman, and I had to order them. And it's a brand that they'd never heard of. I mean, the guy at the gun counter, he'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it. They're made by White River Energetics, which is apparently a new company. And it's here in the United States. Let me see. Large rifle Magnum primers. They're made in Arkansas. So, since I didn't have any choice in the matter, there were no CCI or any kind of Remington primers available. Pardon me. So here's the first step. Take the brass, move the coffee. The first thing I do, here's the torque wrench I've been using to put the scope on. The first thing I'll do is clean out the flash hole where the primer goes. And Hornady, they have a stamp, and they stamp the flash hole in the back where the primer sends the flash up into the powder. And so the first thing I'll do is take this tool, and it has a straight part of the bit that goes into the hole, and then it has shoulders as you turn it. If there's any little pieces of brass, it will just cut those. If I can get it. And then it has a stop here for different cartridges. So I've got this set for 300 PRC. You just give it a few turns. There's a few little pieces of brass there, nothing spectacular, but that is a really nice round and uniform flash hole. And it is right in the center where it's supposed to be. Now, a lot of people don't, like if there's a big operation and they've got a lot of shooters, like a military type of operation, they don't have the time to go through like 10,000 brass cases, right, to do all these steps. But if you're shooting, bench shooting for accuracy, you would want to do this. And this chamfers the outside of the case. It has little, it looks like a rocket. It has little teeth that go on the outside of the case. And then this one goes on the inside and gives it a chamfer. Right, and that does the inside. And so now, let's see what we got. Oh yeah, quite a bit more. And now there's a nice slope around on the inside of the cartridge where the bullet can seat without damaging your copper. The next step that I do is I trim the case, and I just use these. Let's see now. Here it is. This is the die that goes here. Just put that in there. Spin it. Then you take this blade. This is a Lee quick trim. And this works on different kinds of dies, you know, different calibers, that is to say. But today we're going to do this 300, so that just goes in there. I use the same handle for my Swedish MAUSER. And you go up here and you push that up in there. Did you see that come up? And now it's spring-loaded, and you just give it a few turns like that. And bring it down. And you've got a nicely trimmed case. And I've already, this is set up automatically, and this trims the case to exactly where it needs to be according to Sammy's specifications. Of course, to double check it, I do double check with the calipers. And these are good, right? So then this goes back in the Swedish box. Put that away. This goes back in, because it's specific for the caliber, so this goes back in the 300 PRC box. And the next thing we do is size the brass. And that is done with this. This is designed, this pin is designed to knock the old primers out on fired cases and to size the brass at the same time. Well, since these don't have primers, we just use it to size the brass. So, and I've previously set this up as far as the how far it needs to go up in there. It's super simple. You basically just use this Allen key, and you just turn this down to the appropriate length and then lock it in. But before we do that, and you know, why am I even doing this for new brass? You would assume that it's good to shoot. And even though I don't plan on going out and looking for a grizzly bear or something like that, people that do, you don't want to have something you loaded and it won't chamber, right? So you want to have it the right size. So you take a little of this case lube and you just put it around with your finger. And if it dries, it's no big deal. Lee says that it still works just as well. And it says don't put any on the neck, but I've put a little on the neck because I almost had to get a breaker bar to get this to open the other day, to get the press to open. These are not reload friendly. I mean, that is to say, it takes some effort to reload these. Okay, here we go. So we're going to size it. We're going to put it in here and run it up. And gee, God. Okay. You see, I'm telling you, these Magnum cartridges are not like reloading like a 30-06 or something like that. And then after that, I just take a cloth and wipe off the excess wax. Like that. I should wash that. But for the time, not today. didn't really come off very well. Try this one. Well, that's good. Then you put this back. Now, if you're doing 50 pieces of brass, obviously you would do this in steps. You know, 50 pieces, you do this, 50 pieces, you do that, 50 pieces, you do that. You don't go through all this process one at a time. But for now, this is chamfered, trimmed, sized, and the flash hole is cleaned out, and this is ready to load, except for we haven't put the primer in yet. And let me grab that and we'll throw a primer in here. And for the brass shavings, get one of these. They don't cost much. Because if you don't, these brass shavings will get up under your skin and it's rather uncomfortable. So we have here the Frankfurt Arsenal, and this is a primer putter-inner, primer seating tool. You can use, it works for most all cartridges. It has these little dealy boppers here that, according to the base of your brass, what's going to slide in here and hold it. And then this is spring-loaded, so it holds it in there. This works great, and you really get a feeling like, and there's a piston in here. As you pull this handle, the piston goes forward and drives the primer into the primer hole, primer recess. And this is the magazine where you would load, I don't know, 25 in here is no problem. I know that for sure. And it goes in here like that. And it's gravity fed, so when you tilt it forward, a primer comes down through here, goes through the little chute, and drops down in the hole. Now you have to be careful not to, like, accidentally manipulate the handle, because if you do, another primer is going to come. And after a few of these, you're going to recognize the fact, because it's so difficult to do, that you've got two primers in there. Just a word, because how do I know, right? So, but today, we're just going to do one case, one cartridge case. And these come 100 to the box. These are empty because I've used these already. But there's one right there that looks like a good candidate. Okay? So you're not supposed to touch these, supposedly, because, but I mean, if your hands are clean and not just full of grease and stuff, it should be okay. But the oil-based things get inside the primer and can make it not be a primer anymore, just basically a piece of metal. So, with clean hands, you could touch it. Mine are a little oily because I've been messing with the weapons and they've got oil on it. So I got these little tweezer guys, and we're gonna drop that primer right in this hole. Okay, it looks good. There it is. You can see it, maybe. So then you just slide this case in and you hold it away from you and you put on your safety glasses, because these have been known to go off. And as a matter of fact, they've been known to go off and set off all the primers in the magazine. And so you would have some flash burns, but you have to wear glasses. I mean, that's all there is to it if you want to keep your vision. Then you hold it away, and it's designed in case it does go, that it's going to go that way. Hold it away, give it a good squeeze. Okay, it's seated, I can feel it. And there it is. And it is, you could just use any kind of straight edge. It's seated, it's flush, actually it's below flush, maybe 1/1000th of an inch. And that's it. Those are the steps you use to get this case ready to reload. And then I found some, if you're interested in the powder that I finally selected, I selected 2. Again, these are not easy to find. I mean, unless you want about 8 pounds of powder. I happened to be in Cabela's picking up that 300 PRC Cascade XT, and lo and behold, on the shelf was like one old dusty bottle of Winchester Stay-Ball HD, which is for Magnum cartridges. In fact, it even says it down here on the bottom. Ideal for 6.5 PRC, 7mm rim mag, 7mm rim ultra mag, 300 PRC, and many, many more. So 300 PRC, I got it. And I have been reading about this on the internet, and it's a ball powder. It's easily metered, it's easily measured, and it's easy to work with. And this is a 2-part powder. And it has, let me see if it has a little ditty on here. It says increased velocity, temperature and sensitivity, which is good if you're going to different mountains or desert hunting or winter or summer. Doesn't matter with this. Reduced copper fouling. It keeps your lands and grooves in your barrel cleaner because it's a really clean burning powder. And it says precise metering, which I already told you. I got that one, and unbelievably, you'll laugh at this. Okay, the Swedish MAUSER is 40 grains of powder, right? 42, 40, 42. Here's the 300 PRC. This is downloaded from the Hodgkin website. 78 grains, and so that's double the powder. And that case, that big case, it's full. So, of course, it's pushing a 208 grain bullet at 3,000 feet a second, which is smoking. And that's why I'm not afraid to shoot it, but I do have a little bit of anxiety, I have to tell you. It should be okay. It's just the unexpected, as always, can induce a little anxiety. Oh, the last powder, and then I'll let you go do whatever you were doing, is I found this Vivuori, this is USA-made powder. This powder is Vivuori, and it's made in Finland. Interestingly enough, the same people that make the TIKKA rifles, they're made in Finland as well. Finnish steel and Finnish workmanship and machining and everything. They make this Vivuori powder as well. And according to the chart that's on the website, it's listed, this powder, for 300 PRC. This is also, it's a 2-part powder. It's sensitive to temperature changes. The thing about this one is it's a little more difficult to work with because it has like long grains. And as a matter of fact, if you're at 78.1 grains, if you just pick up one piece of powder, that's a grain, and it's, you know, a good size piece of powder. So it's not as a finesse type of, if you had reloading equipment, like one of those ones that go, I don't know what you call a turret press, this could have give you some fits about as far as measuring, automatic measuring. Since I hand measure mine, it's not a problem. It's just a little bit more of a challenge because you can't really just take the measuring cup. You can't just take your measuring cup and kind of tap it like that, and maybe a quarter grain would fall or half a grain, like the Winchester powder, because it's a tiny little balls. But this one, when 1 grain falls, that's 0.1 grain, okay? So that's something to be aware of. And I've loaded up both of these, and we'll go out to the range. And I know I promised to take you with me and go shoot my dad's 30-30, and that's still on the agenda. I've just been a little busy. The doctor told me I was diabetic, and so I've been having to, first off, I started off on these metformin pills, but they made me sick, and I really couldn't get much done, you know. I had to, for me, I had to stay close to the bathroom all the time. But I talked to the doctor, and I talked to my insurance company, and thankfully they said okay, and I got some of the MAUSER. You want to see one? Let me go grab one. It's kind of interesting. Right back. This is it. I've been letting it sit out because I keep them in the refrigerator, and I've taken this one out so it just kind of gets to room temperature. And here's a little vial right there. And it's basically a clear liquid right there. And what happens is, and this is the MAUSER, this is for diabetics like me, and Lilly, the company that makes this, makes one for people that want to lose weight as well, but I don't know what the name of it is. So this is an auto injector, and it doesn't hurt. Like shooting that 300 PRC, being a little anxious. I was a little anxious about this in the beginning because the way it works is up here it has a locked and safe, locked and fire. And you just pull this cap off, and you grab a little roll of belly skin, and you place it on there, and you unlock this to armed or fire. You push this button, and a spring in there just injects that little vial. Well, it's not pleasant, you know, but it doesn't really hurt that much. But just the whole idea, you know, that once a week you have to take that. And I wish I wasn't diabetic, and I really don't indulge in too much sugar at all. But it kind of runs in my family, so that's the way it goes. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening about the TIKKA T3X Hunter. Thanks for listening about my new Cascade XT. We're definitely going to go shoot that. And thanks for listening about how to prep a case properly and get it to where you want it as far as the most accurate way you can make it before you add the powder and the bullet. Hope you have a good day. Hope your fall is going well. It's starting to cool off here a little bit at night and in the morning especially. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to push those little buttons down there. Deputy Terry signing off. TIKKA Monomer.